Good morning, YouTube family. It's Martinez Country Home here. Um, it's Saturday, February the 27th, and just wanted to talk about a couple of things here. I hope everybody's having a great morning, enjoying y'all's coffee, your breakfast. Here in San Antonio, it's gonna get up to 80 degrees, 82 degrees. So we're going from a winter storm, winter weather, to like summer, almost summer-like temperatures within 5 days. So if you live in Texas, you shouldn't be surprised, right? Um, Wanted to talk about a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to talk about was inflation. Now, I've been hearing a lot of stories lately in the alternative media and even in the mainstream media about inflation, rising inflation. Um, so we know about these things just as a matter of course. We know that with these stimulus packages and QE and all these programs that you hear from the Federal Reserve and the Department of the Treasury, you know that they're just, in other words, they're just printing money. And they're not printing money like from a printing press like before. What they're doing is just uh, creating money on the digital screen. And they got different ways of doing that. Um, what you're also seeing now is they're really changing the rules on the way they count inflation, on the way they on the way they count the money supply, things of that nature. And what that means is basically, as the system starts to fail, or before they go bankrupt or before they get hurt, they actually change the rules as to how everything's counted, and so they're not hurt by it. The people that are hurt by it is people like you and I. Um, so the best example is in 2008, and what was the financial, what they call it, the financial crisis, economic collapse of 2008. Guys, in reality, in 2008, the whole system should have crashed. Um, the big banks and the big corporations were about to go into bankruptcy, and um, they couldn't have that. So they literally changed the rules. They literally changed the whole system. Um, what they did was um, they the Federal Reserve basically bailed out the banks, right? The ones that were gonna go bankrupt. What they did was they went before Congress and they said, you know what? If you don't bail us out, if you don't bail out these banks, the whole system is gonna collapse. And what they meant was their way of life was gonna collapse. They're living high on the hog and living the rich life and the wealthy life, that was gonna come to an end. So what they did was the Federal Reserve basically um, gave money to these banks and these corporations that were failing, and since the money is backed by it's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States, which that means us, our labor. So they got bailed out and we're on the hook for it. Okay. Now they can say that we're liable for it or whatever, but I mean, these numbers, they're just throwing them around. Um, Technically, yes, we're liable for it, but um, it's odious debt, meaning it's BS. Okay, but that's a whole nother story. Okay, all I want to do right now is just set up what's going on right now. And I mean, I'm sure y'all have heard different different videos, different news sites, podcasts. um but I just want to set up what's going on right now. So they changed the whole system, right, back in 2008, so that they could keep on going. So like I said, in reality, honestly, the whole system collapsed. um there's no money, guys, and for some of y'all, it's kind of, I know it's kind of hard for y'all to understand when I say that, but in reality, there's no money. Right now, in the system that we have, money is borrowed into existence. So like for example, when you go buy a car or a house and you sign the paperwork and all that, what happens is your signature actually creates that those digital numbers. Okay, your signature creates that money, and that's a whole nother conversation. Many of y'all know what I'm talking about the treasury and how our the public and the private and the legal fiction um, that they've created out of our names. Okay, so like I said, that's another rabbit hole, guys, that goes down many miles. So anyway, so now let's fast forward to 2021 right now. They've just started to do the same thing. They're changing the rules, how inflation is counted, how the money supply is counted. Um, so I'm starting to see a lot of stories here and there, especially from mainstream media about the inflation. So I used to think that as they create more money, the money supply, it's too much for the system, right? And so what happens is hyperinflation. Um, and generally, yes, that's what happens. But there's a little bit more to it, a little bit more to it than that. Um, yes, the money's the money's being created, and the money supply is expanding, but the inflation where you see it, you see the inflation that it's benefiting the elite. Okay, so for example, the stock market. The reason that we don't see hyperinflation in our everyday life is because all the money that's being created is going into the stock market for the most part. It's going into the stock market, and that's why you see the stock market growing in size, right? Another place where the money supply goes to is um, it a lot of it has gone into cryptocurrencies, right? And so what happens is, um, in hyperinflation, everything goes up in price, right? Like you see in Venezuela or Zimbabwe, the food, the water, gasoline, all that stuff, it rises in price, right? But right now, the prices that are rising is benefiting, like I said, the wealthy. Their homes are appreciating in value. Um, uh, Land, right? The land goes up in price. You have inflation there. Um, the stock market, their portfolios go up in price, right? When we see now when inflation hits us at our level, we're gonna see inflation in the things that we buy every day in everyday life, like food, water, gas, like the energy. Okay, uh, so I just want you to keep in mind that just because you're not seeing it, the inflation. Oh, actually, well, I know many of y'all can see it when you go shopping in the grocery store. The prices are not so much rising. Excuse me. The prices are not so much rising. At The prices are the same, right? The nominal value, but what you're seeing is the packaging a shrink, and also what I noticed is the quality of the ingredients that are used to make the products that we buy. Every once in a while, like I've told y'all before, we'll buy like chips, potato chips or whatever, to eat with our sandwiches or whatever. Candy, even though we don't eat a lot of candy, but every once in a while, of course, we'll eat some candy, like chocolate bars or whatever. Um, what I'm noticing is that the flavor is different. They're less quality. They're not as good. Because after many years of eating these products, of course, you can tell when the flavor changes, right? Um, it's either too intense, right, or it's lost the flavor. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's very it's very gradual how they do it, but but you notice it, especially when you don't, like us, that we don't need a lot of candy and junk food like that. When the times that we do, we notice the change in the flavor. But if you've been eating it every day and that's part of your diet, you're not really gonna notice it because it's just you're eating it all the time. That's another way that they hide the inflation. Also, what happened is that the reason that we don't see the inflation in the traditional sense of hyperinflation is because the velocity of money has really slowed down. Um, when they locked everything down and they shut down the economy, money was not exchanging hands like before. Um, but what's happening, and this is my opinion, with all these stimulus checks that are coming in and the stimulus money that people are getting, um, the excuse me, the um, like the unemployment, SNAP benefits, all these things that are being given to people, people are spending it, right? And so you'll start seeing either shortages because there's too much money for the products that are available. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has money and trying to go get the same amount of goods, they're not there. You know, if it's like, for example, say you live in a college town where everybody wants athletic gear, right? And all of a sudden everybody's given, like for the stimulus, you get $2,000 in that little college town, and everybody goes rushes out to get that college gear. Well, everybody has money, everybody wants the same amount of gear that's there. And the thing is that in America we're not really producing anything. So um the the supply is not there. It's not there anymore. So that's very general. I'm not. That's kind of a ballpark idea of what I'm trying to explain. But so we're not really seeing the hyperinflation yet. Um, and what another thing I was gonna say was that they're talking about the digital, going into digital currency and things like that. Um, Sometimes when you change into when you go in from one system to another, we might not even notice it. They might have already done it. A couple of days ago, the Federal Reserve, it went down. Their system of payments that they use to make transactions, it was down for like I don't know how many hours. And it's people are talking about how that little window of time is when they might have changed the system. I'm not sure what happened there, but the Federal Reserve, for there to be a glitch, I don't really believe it. Those people, they're evil as hell, but they have their technology down, and I cannot see them doing anything happening to their system that they didn't allow or that they did by themselves. They're evil and they're immoral, but their their systems, I don't see it failing like that. In 2008, the reason that the system was going to crash was because everything was natural. The economy back then was a little bit more natural, and economic forces were basically operating the way they're supposed to. And they had to shut it down because they didn't have the technology to really, the computer programs, the algorithms, to stop what happened in 2008. So they had to like stop it. Okay. But since then, um, the technology and the computer programs and the algorithms and the artificial intelligence, I think it's gotten so advanced to where they can basically, they can manipulate a little bit better and move how they want. The economic forces, right? They created it so they can do what they want. Um, so the point of this, guys, is that the inflation, it's when you start hearing it from the media, for alternative media and even corporate media, it's time to pay attention. Um, we're gonna start to see, I think, little by little, the inflation go up, and um, one of the things that can happen is a credit freeze, where the system just gets bogged down, and so there's no more credit. Um, almost everybody, the stores and all that, nobody pays cash. Everything's on credit. They sign an invoice and it gets charged to the company, and money changes hands in the digital world. Um, that's the one thing that can happen. I've heard it spoken of before, that that's one of the risks that can happen. Basically, what that means is that there's too much digital money, right? Make believe money for the actual money that really exists, right? And so it there's no transactions. Everything locks up. Excuse me. Good coffee. So um, it's something to keep in mind. The inflation, like I said before, keep stocking up. I know I would like to buy precious metals and stuff, silver, gold, because that's real money, guys. Um, there's all kinds of different types of money. There's precious metals, of course. The paper currency, the fiat currency, that's not really money. That's not true money. That's not lawful money. Um, you have bartering. You have your what they call sweat equity, which is your labor, your work with your hands. But just keep an eye on those little things, guys. It's something to keep an eye on. Um, there's so many things going on right now. I just wanted to show y'all real quick. I'm gonna show y'all something. Um, so I bought 2 cans of the same product, right? And I didn't know. I thought it was the same, but when I got home and I was stacking them up, I was stacking them, right. I noticed one of them was smaller than the other. So one of these cans I bought at the grocery store, and the other I bought at the at a like a dollar store. Okay, so check it out. Let me see if you can see it. I don't know why I can't flip around my camera, but so the can that you see to your right, the taller can, that one's 18.8 ounces, right? And the can next to it that's shorter, that one's 16.3 ounces, right? And it was the same price. And I was like, when I saw it, I was like, man, that's a good deal. It was 3 cents cheaper, the smaller can. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get it. I got a bunch of cans, and that was like at a Dollar General or something. So later on, when I was stacking them up, I was like, man, why is it, why are they not stacking evenly? Well, guys, one of them's smaller. So read your price per unit, like prices per ounce or prices per grams, things like that, and that'll tell you what's the better deal. So it's basically the same. One of them's different, different kind, but it's the same brand. But anyway, guys, I thought that'd be interesting to you. Keep an eye on your packaging. It's just an example uh, of how they trick you. So I should have known better, but I got greedy, I guess you could say. I was like, man, that's a good deal, but it really wasn't. Okay, so anyway, I only bought like 4 cans of that one because that's all they had. But lesson learned. So another thing I want to talk to you about, guys, real quick. Um, 2 more things is the water, right? We're talking about water shortages and stuff. I was reminded yesterday. All this, I was talking about water the other day, right? Well, I was reminded that not too long ago, water is now traded as a commodity, right? And I'm like, you know what, man? I don't know why I forgot to. Excuse me, sorry, guys. I don't know why I forgot to mention that water is a tradable commodity now, and you're gonna start seeing it being manipulated even more. Guys, there's no real shortage of water. Many of y'all here on this channel, I know y'all have heard of primary water. Um, Water is basically, it's just like oil. There's no peak oil. Okay, oil's not gonna run out. Oil is basically the blood of the world we live in, of the planet. You know, it's in there. It's not gonna run out. Same thing with water. there's primary water. I think that's the reason why they killed Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. He tapped into one of these springs, these natural rivers, underground rivers, and this man created a one of the wonders of the world, and they murdered him for it. Um, I know they talk about him, because of the gold. He wanted to sell his oil for gold, and he didn't want the petrodollar. But I believe it was because of the water. They went in. NATO went and bombed all his project. I mean, this guy. Y'all read up on him, guys. Read up on Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. Um, that's what the mainstream media does, is they vilify people, and anybody that doesn't follow their narrative or their agenda, or they try to fight back, you're gonna get rubbed out. You're gonna get murdered. Let's just say it like that. Let's just say it for what it is. You're gonna get murdered. They will assassinate you. So read up on Muammar Gaddafi, guys. The Great Underground River Project or something like that. This man built a humongous river system. Um, anyway, so I think that's what this is what we're seeing with the water. They're gonna start playing with our water, messing with our water, and they're gonna ration it because these MFers are making money like always. Um, so stock up on water, guys. Stock up on water storage, and stock up on find you a way to filter your water, because it's gonna get, I hope not, because water is life, and they're gonna try and mess with it. So another thing I wanted to talk about, the last thing, guys, real quick, and this is real quick, but I saw a video last night from a YouTube channel called Jeremiah Babe, and this guy's always he's based in California, and he was walking around Los Angeles for like the past week, maybe. He's been putting videos out of Los Angeles, and I know y'all have heard of Skid Row, um, where these people, homeless people, but it's not just there, guys. I mean, there's cities all over the United States with a lot of homeless people in the downtown areas, and um, I was shocked. And I don't know what it was last night, but I was watching the video of him driving around, and I mean, there was even homeless people in front of the police station. I mean, camped out there. I mean, right in front, next to the walls of the police station in Los Angeles, and it reminded me of one of those movies like that we used to see in the '80s of the future, right? Like RoboCop, or um, those movies where they show like the future and humanity's all in poverty, and or like Elysium. That's another one. But anyway, guys, I was trying to picture myself, these people, right, how they're living, and somehow they've and okay, guys, I know some of them they're drug addicts or alcoholics or whatever, but man, that's beside the point, honestly. um it was just shocking to me to see so many homeless people, I mean, in America. um it looked third world, and then up the street you see people walking around business as usual, just walking around and going to their appointments or whatever. I mean, it was just crazy, guys. We really have to take care of each other. I mean, I know it's hard. People make it hard. There's evil people out there. There's people that, I mean, I guess you could say they've brought it upon themselves or whatever. But again, that's kind of like beside the point. So many people, um, just horrible, man. That's not even including kids. Um, that's another story I'll say for another video, guys. But we really, not everybody is not everybody is doing bad. Not everybody's doing good, right? But there's a lot more people doing bad. There's a lot more people that are struggling right now, and it sometimes it is easy to forget about them, and just take it for granted that our lives are blessed, and that we're doing better than other people. But you know let's just help each other, guys. Okay, let's keep an eye on what's going on around us. Let's take care of our families and our households, and let's take care of each other as best we can, if we can. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna end it here. Y'all have a great weekend, guys. Y'all take care of each other and love each other out there, because that's what we're here for. Okay? God bless, guys.